Everyone, and welcome back to the rundown. Apologize about the sound issues, but welcome back to the rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views, and every once in a while, our sound actually works. But today, well, today's one of those days. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself, so let's blame Mike.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on the Rundown. 2A views, conservative news. Greg, without that sound, we can't hear your smoke detector beeping.
Yeah, fun stuff. Anyway, you folks, look, today, let's have fun, because it's Monday.
I stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image of me that you're used to. I look money, a king bee making honey, see? Each state, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round, I'm the new sheriff in town. All my people rise up and stand your ground. Now drink up all the Diet Coke you got in your shelf. So just let me introduce myself. My name is Trump D. I like my mashed potatoes lumpy. Fake news, oh how I like to punk thee. That little sniper on the slope tip. He took a shot but he missed me. I don't fall, y'all, I'm like the ever-ready bunny. Still going strong and spunky. So put on your big boy pants. Come on, let's do the dance.
The Trumpy dance is your chance to do the Trump.
Come on, do the Trumpy Trump. Come on and do the Trumpy Trump. Check me out, y'all. We do the Trumpy Trump. Just watch me do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? We do the Trumpy Trump. Come on, everybody do the Trumpy Trump. It's time to do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah.
That's right, the Trumpty Trump. We will continue to do the Trump dance as long as he keeps winning. And man, it's hard to argue that he is not winning.
Well, yeah, we got a little bit of a glitch going on here. We'll discuss that. But yeah, winning at 90% of everything he's doing.
Right. Well, there's glitches. I get it. There's going to be glitches because you know what? Nobody is perfect. But I mean, think about this. For the first time ever, you know how they do if the nation is heading the right way, wrong way, they do that poll. For the first time in like 147 months, that's a long time. For those of you who do not know, that's well over a decade. For the first time in 147 months, it's over 40%. How do you argue with that?
You don't. It's there. Eat tough. Deal with it.
There you go.
You know, you just
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, Good stuff is going on. How was your weekend?
Good. A little bit of alarming news. You know, I was playing a little golf this weekend, right? And somebody was talking about that the president's granddaughter, Kai Trump. You know who Kai Trump is? Kai Trump.
Do not know who Kai Trump is. No.
She is one of the first grandchildren. She is one of the grandchildren of President Trump. And they said she was dating Tiger Woods. And I'm like,
uh-oh.
Yeah, I think she's like 18, maybe. Tiger. And then it came out after we made the turn. She's dating Charlie Woods, Tiger's son, who's age appropriate. So
age appropriate. There you go. Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, he wouldn't be the first 50 some odd year old to date a 19-year-old.
The president's granddaughter. You want to know how you disappear? This is how you disappear.
Right. There you go. I do believe that is one foolproof way to disappear. If you're looking to disappear, I'd mess with the president's granddaughter.
Yeah, she's 17 for about another 6 weeks.
No, that's I'll put it to you this way: he wouldn't even send them to El Salvador. That's how bad it would be.
Yeah, he would just disappear.
Yeah.
Charlie's 16, so that's appropriate.
Okay.
16 to 17. That's okay. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what happens when you get your news on a golf course.
Well, we were nowhere near, civilization. We were playing in hazards and the woods and water, and
somehow Tiger Woods and a minor came up.
Yeah.
course,
One of the
considering.
guys, so we had one of the guys playing with us who doesn't know anything about pop culture, right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he went, "Hey, I heard Tiger Woods dating one of Trump's granddaughters." I'm like, "What in the world are you talking about?" You know, first off, all his granddaughters, I'm pretty sure are underage, you know, but Tiger's
Wow.
like 50, so
Yes. No, that is completely and utterly inappropriate. So yeah,
yeah.
no, bad stuff. Anyway, so I didn't know you. How often do you get a chance to get out and play golf?
Oh, good. Once every 3 or 4 years, I like to get out.
I that used to be me. Now I'm like, I played like last year. I played the most I've played, which was probably, I think I played 6 or 7 times last year, and I'm looking to kind of beat that this year. So trying to get a little bit more into it, but it's another one of those hobbies that's not an inexpensive hobby.
It depends on the course, right? Obviously, the equipment you can get equipment for pretty cheap, but it's and it's standard. It's not too bad. But I used to play 3 rounds a week, and just work and everything took me away from it. But I was at one point on my home course, mind you, shooting in the low 80s.
Oh wow,
So,
very nice.
yeah.
Whew.
But
I would say my handicap had me in the low hundreds.
yeah, so listen, don't get me wrong. I mean, like, even when I was shooting in the low 80s, it's literally because I knew where every pebble and every stone was on that course,
Oh.
and played it 3 times a week. So it was like, well, I'll hit it off that tree over there. It'll come out and kick out to the right. Yeah. Now if I'm lucky if I could hit the driving range once a month.
Yeah, if people ask me, like, do you play golf? I said, well, if by play golf do you mean that do I go out where there is grass and hit a ball that eventually winds up somewhere near a hole? Then yes, I've played golf. Am I any good at it? No.
I say I play at golf, but to steal a line from Earl, who's on my co-host on the radio show, Arms Room Radio, he says, takes a lot of balls to play golf like I do.
Okay. I'll let Earl know. He's getting credit the first time I use that. Then after that, it's all mine.
Yep. Gotcha.
Oh.
What is it? If they want to discover water on the moon or on Mars, just let me go up there and tee off. I'll find it.
That's another good one. I like that. Good stuff. All right, enough of the golf talk. Let's go ahead and get into today's program. We got some very interesting stuff to have a conversation about today. But before we do, we've got to start with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Now you can buy factory direct, the best AR barrels on the market, rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire. Just get on over to hitmanindustries.net. California Public Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. You want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market? Get on over to hawgholsters.com, HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spacing, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want some field gear, outdoor gear, web gear, hunting gear, tactical gear, military gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, you can get it all except the gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do us a favor. Do them a favor. Do yourself a favor. Visit their website. All you have to do is follow the links in the description to this program. Go there, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also, I want to encourage you, if you are watching the program live, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, we're taking your comments. So go ahead and comment either in the live chat or in the comments section, and we will share what you have to say with our audience. So go ahead, do that. Let us know what's up. And by the way, we don't necessarily have to agree with you. I mean, if you're a lefty and you're watching us, we would more than love to hear from you. But just know that if we disagree with you, we will mock you.
Like you wouldn't believe. We'll mock you the best. Nobody mocks people like we do.
Nobody. It'll be huge. Huge.
Everybody's talking about it.
Everybody will be talking about it. All right, we're going to start here today. We're going to talk about, a lot of people are just really coming down on the left. A lot of people in the left and the media are coming down on President Trump and on Tom Homan, the new border czar, and they're like, "Oh, what you guys are doing is it's unconstitutional. It's not fair and due process and blah 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 blah." But what they are ignoring, and what most of the mainstream media is ignoring, what most of the people on the left are ignoring, is the fact that the bulk of the efforts that are going into our whole illegal immigration enforcement is largely having to do with criminal aliens. And one of the groups of folks that we're dealing with here, well, I hate to say this, it's the blue state Democrats who seem insistent on fighting against the idea of, getting criminals out of the country. And one example of what it is that they're doing, check this out. It says Homan blasts blue state as report shows it released illegals charged with horrific crimes on low bails, meaning they let them out on the street so that they could not be subject to deportation by ICE. And here's Fox News reporting on that.
Serious. So Tom Homan was fired up, and he talked about some of the struggles he's having with these blue-run cities where a lot of illegals call home, especially Boston. Listen.
I'm coming to Boston. I'm bringing hell with me. 9 that were in jail in Massachusetts, but rather than honoring an ICE detainer, released them back into the street. You're not a police commissioner. Take that badge off your chest, put it in the desk drawer, because you became a politician. You forgot what it's like to be a cop.
So think about that. 9 people who were accused of basically child predators were released because they would rather see them out on the streets of apparently Boston, Massachusetts, than in jail or than being deported or, at the very least sent to El Salvador.
That Mayor Wu, she got called on the carpet during the congressional testimony because she stated things like, "We don't know how many illegals we have because we don't ask them their status before giving them money." Yeah, not your money. Who cares, right? So here's my prediction. Here's what's going to happen, Craig. Attorney General Pam Bondi is going to file charges against these 3 individuals, the mayor, the governor, and the police commissioner, for obstruction of justice, federal justice, and for contributing to terrorism. And they'll be lucky if their asses aren't taken straight to Guantanamo. They might get a hearing in front of a DHS judge, for these charges. See what happens to them. But they're done. That's what's going to happen. That's what you're going to see a lot of. And this judge later on, we're going to talk about in the program, it may be happening to him too. They're done. We're not playing these games.
Well, and that's what's going to need to happen. I mean, in fact, this is the rumor report once again over at Fox News. It says last week, Wu, who you were just talking about, by the way, renewed her pledge to resist Trump's deportation efforts, saying, "We stand with immigrants, and no one tells Boston how to take care of our own. Not presidents who think they are kings." However, at least 7 illegal immigrants charged with serious crimes, including child rape and fentanyl trafficking, were released by local law enforcement agencies in Massachusetts in recent months, according to the outlet reported that in one instance, a 39-year-old Honduran national named Juan Alberto Redesno Marin, who was charged with indecent assault and battery on a person over 14, assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, masked assault to rape, was released on his own recognizance without having to pay bail. Think about that, Mike. This guy was released because he's an illegal immigrant. He was released on his own. Now, they could have called ICE, had him detained, right? At the very least, had him detained by ICE. But refused to do that because they would rather have a child rapist on the street.
Yeah. They're going to jail. They're going to jail, Craig. equipment in the helicopters. Here's what I'm going to do.
That for those of you who are just listening to the program, turning his back
They're gonna
like
look the
I
other
don't
way.
see nothing. I know nothing. But dude, that
They're
should
gonna
be.
look away and be like, "Oh, look at that."
You know,
Yep.
and it's frustrating when you talk to,
Exactly
and I'm
right.
sure you talk to probably a lot more law enforcement than I do. But when I talk to folks who are in law enforcement, they are frustrated that they are not allowed to do their jobs. That situations like this happen. Officials put them on the spot when it comes to going after guys like this.
That's it. And they're getting disciplined or fired if they try to do something like this to affect these arrests and make their city streets safer. But nope. Yeah, people are going to jail. It's coming soon. There's going to be a constitutional crisis. No, we'll let you have a phone call. You'll get your constitutional rights.
Right. Exactly. Exactamundo. Anyway, folks, but and because they want to push an agenda, kind of like Giffords likes to push an agenda. And that's what I wanted to get into in this next story. You might know the Giffords are an anti-gun, not believe in the right to keep and bear arms. Would love to see that right removed from the American people. Well, they've been pushing this study lately, and it turns out that the study they've been pushing, well, it's kind of bogus. This is a piece written by our good friend, Mr. Tom Knighton, over at Bearing Arms, where he talks about Gifford's promotion of an anti-gun study backfires in spectacular fashion. It says they pushed a study talking about people directly exposed to a mass shooting. This is something that, to some degree, I want to roll my eyes at, but I also look at these studies all the time. So does my buddy Dan Was. He looked at the keyboard. He took over the keyboard over at AmmoLand to point out some of the problems with the study, now highlighting something that the Gifford study would rather you ignore. So in this study, what they're talking about here, this is from Giffords. It says 1 in 15 adults have survived a mass shooting, according to researchers from multiple universities, right? But here's what they point out. This is likely incorrect based on exaggerated data. 1 in 15 adults would equal 17,500,000 survivors. So in other words, what they're saying here is no, those numbers don't exactly work when you start looking at the number. Think about that. 1 in 15 people, Mike. I'm finding this very difficult to believe that. I mean, how do you arrive at such a bad number that you didn't even, no one bothered to check the math to see that, this sounds a little fishy?
Easy, Craig. They did the poll in Chicago.
Well, there you go. Yeah, in Chicago. All right. Well, maybe you got a point there.
Chicago, it's a little light. It should be more like 1 in 10.
It's a little hard. It's a little hard to argue that one, to be quite honest with you. Now that I think about it, it does become a little hard to argue.
Yep. So as long as you stay out of Chicago, we should be good. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
No Chicago, no Chi-Town. Stay out of Chi-Town. But but it just goes to prove that old saying: there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. And the anti-gun community seems to have no problem using false data, using unreliable data, or just flat out lying in order to push an agenda, because they believe, as I've said before, they believe that the Second Amendment is a disease that needs to be gotten rid of.
Everything else is a lie. Why wouldn't the numbers lie as well?
Does kind of lean that direction, though, don't it? Interesting stuff. Okay. Okay, and then we got one last thing here. It says now, so, oh no, wait, I skipped a story. My bad. I skipped one here. Hold on, we got to go back here. Go back up. There we go. Mahmoud Khalid hid his ties to a terrorist group. Now, a lot of people, you might remember, this is the guy from Colombia, the one who came to the United States like a little more than 2 years ago.
Columbia University.
Columbia University, came here, got married, and almost instantly began advocating for and organizing protests, promoting Hamas and promoting the death, destruction of Israel and the United States. He was detained by ICE and is on his way, about to be deported. Well, as it turns out, dude has ties to a terrorist organization that, by the way, he omitted when he applied for his visa. And by the way, falsifying his visa application is a sure way to get your butt booted out. Anyway, it says here, Mahmoud Khalil omitted work for terror-tied UNRWA from green card application, prosecutors say. Now, as more of the information is coming out, it says here, Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University protest leader in immigration and customs enforcement custody, hid his work for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, when he applied for a green card, according to federal prosecutors. Khalil worked for the terror-tied agency at the time of Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack on Israel, and concealing the job while applying for permanent residency last March justifies his deportation, prosecutors say. Now, I think this seems like kind of a slam dunk, Mike, but I'm still thinking that folks are like, well, he still has a right to. And I'm like, when are you going to realize he's not being deported just because, he wished death to America while on a visa?
Doesn't matter. It's enough. You know what? It's enough. You lied. The pudding there, right? The extra part, the greatness is the cherry on top is that they found out you lied on your visa. Well, guess what? If you lie on your visa application, Craig, you get to ride the American Express all the way down to Venezuela or El Salvador. It's sending you home, baby. I know that's not where you came from, but that's where we're sending people. And so, guess what? You on the way. You on the way. Make some room for the mayor and the police commissioner from Boston, because they're going with you.
Well, yeah. I why people think that's okay. And I'll be real with you. I am very much and I'll be real. Looking at a lot of this stuff, I'm like, okay, so they're rounding up people and they're taking them out. I would love to know, because I'm always like this. I'm a believer in due process, because if there's one thing that I know that the left, if they can get rid of people, if they can jail people, if they can kill people, they will kill them without any due process. So I'm a big believer that if we don't have due process, even if we know that they need to be gone, you make sure they have due process, because I want to make sure that when the left is in charge, they also give due process. What we're finding out now is there has been plenty of due process. There have been plenty of study. There's been plenty of research. There's plenty of data to back up why they're doing what they're doing.
You know what? They can have their due process. They can take them over to the prison library in El Salvador, and they can make a Teams call. How about that? They can do it that way. A little video conferencing. They can have your due process while you're down there. These are enemy combatants. These are alien invaders. They've got to go. And under the Alien Invasion Act, it's good to go. We'll talk about that more in a minute too.
Well, you know what? That's one of the things that Homan pointed out. He's like, look, we're not just using they have photos with tattoos on them. We're actually taking a look at, testimony from other gang members. We're looking at, they've been under surveillance. There's a bunch of stuff that has gone into the decision to round people up. So they're not just pulling it out of nowhere. It's not just coming from nowhere. It's not like, oh, well, you're one of them because of the color of your skin. And that's the way the left wants to make it sound. They want to make it sound like there's no investigation, there's no nothing. They're just rounding up people. They're just rounding up brown people and shipping them out of the country. And that's not the case.
It is not. They're very, very, big and stringent on the rule of law. From the DHS to DOJ, the rule of law is going to be followed. And guess what? They're using a provision from 1798 that is still in the law. And again, we'll talk about that more when we get to the next study. But it's the law. Sorry about your luck.
Yeah, what I'm hoping is what I wish though. I wish that they were ready, like right on as soon as these stories came out, they're ready to say, this is all the stuff that we went through in order to determine this. Boom, 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 boom. And they're doing it. They're doing it now. But I would love for them when they announce it to say, look, these are all the steps we took before we made decisions on folks. Because they're doing it. They are making sure that the people that they're getting. And then once again, that's not to say that they're not going to make mistakes. Because one, they're human. Two, it's the government. They're going to make some mistakes. But 99.9% of the time, so far from what we're seeing, they're getting it right. And the American people very much appreciate what they're doing.
Craig, listen, you can't slam the Democrats the moment this comes out with facts and figures. You can't do that. You got to let it fester for 3-4 days so the rest of the country can look at it and go, what a bunch of dumbasses. I mean, they're shooting themselves in the foot. What are they doing? And then you come out and you go with, oh, hey, know that dumbass stuff they said the other day? Well, check out these facts.
Good stuff, good stuff. And that, by the way, brings me to the last story. And this is where the judge in the deportation case, the folks who got the paid vacation over in El Salvador, the judge has basically ruled that they are entitled, and once again, this is an activist judge, Judge Bosberg allows Tren de Agua migrants to appeal alien enemies deportations. It says here, the ruling is likely to be appealed in part because President Trump's deputies say the judiciary has no role when the president invokes the 1798 Act to deport aliens amid an invasion or a predatory incursion of the United States. This is unconstitutional, responded Stephen Miller, the president's deputy chief of staff. The judge's decision did not challenge the 1798 law itself, but argued that the migrants can claim they are not covered by the president's application of the Alien Enemies Act to Venezuelan members of the Tren de Agua criminal gang. I don't know what the judge is trying to say here.
The judge is trying to say that he's the captain now. That's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say he's in charge and the president can't make these decisions. And remember that American Express that the mayor, the governor, and the police commissioner up there in Boston and Massachusetts are going to be on?
Yeah.
Judge Brosberg's they're going straight to Gitmo. They ain't stopping. They're going to bag his ass up, put him in the back, and he is going. He is going. He is going for
I don't necessarily see that happening. I don't see that
because you're going to Clinton him like you wouldn't believe. Yep.
Well, now there is a difference between Clintoning him. It's like, is someone going to look back and say, yeah, that judge didn't kill himself? That is Clintoning him.
Listen,
is he going to wind up? Is he going to wind up with a bullet in the base of his skull, crashed into an airplane? I mean, into a mountain.
You're right. What this is going to end up as is that they're going to erase him from history. There'll be no proof that this judge ever existed by the time they're done with him.
Wow. That's very Russian-esque. Very KGB-esque.
Like, hey, what happened to that judge that went up against Trump? Who? I don't remember the story. What are you talking about?
The name that shall not be mentioned.
Yeah. I don't remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the main thing here is that this guy, basically what you have is they're judge shopping. These are activist judges, and they're basically looking for them to go after. Now, I'm glad here's the reason why I'm glad they're doing this, because we need a ruling from the Supreme Court to say, look, do these district judges have the ability to put the kibosh on law, on things that are going on? Number one, in affecting the executive branch's ability to do their job when it comes to foreign relations and protecting our borders, number one. Number two, do they have the ability to put in place a national injunction, or does their jurisdiction just go to their district? I mean, every time we get a pro Second Amendment decision, why is it that injunction, whatever it is, doesn't work for the entire country? Why can't they get what they want for the entire country? Why is it just in that jurisdiction or in that district?
Yeah, right, and we'll see that. When a ruling comes out of a district court of appeals, a DCA, it only applies to that district. And when you have complete competing decisions from separate districts, that's when you end up in front of the Supreme Court. But again, you'll get these activist judges. Look how many times the judge out of Hawaii did it, where he's filed a nationwide appeal, a nationwide injunction. You can't do that. You can't do that. And
no,
I mean, the judiciary, not all of the judiciary, these leftists, judiciary that are trying to administer from the bench, legislate from the bench, there's going to be some pain.
Well, the only real recourse they have, first and foremost, is they're going to have to decide whether or not they're going to impeach him. And so far in the Senate, there doesn't appear to be any appetite for removing these or impeaching these judges. Clearly, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court has decided on his own that these judges have done nothing wrong. I do believe that when it gets to the Supreme Court, that the majority of the Supreme Court, even if it's 5-4, are going to make it very clear that these judges have overstepped their bounds.
Yeah. So here's how it's going to work. The executive branch has already said, listen, here's the law. And it says right here in the law that this is the exclusive authority of the president. Nobody else gets to check him on this. Again, this is akin to saying, I want to move troops and I want you to attack, Poland. You don't get to do that. You have no authority to do it. So when you come forward, you want to say, I'm ignoring even your request to get rid of this law. In fact, I'm putting additional conditions on it now, making them being able to apply for hearings. These are not illegal migrants that walked across the border. This is an invasion. They've been declared a terrorist organization. They are different status, Craig. They're
right.
So when this judge decides he's going to do this, again, send DHS, the U.S. Marshals down and go, Your Honor, turn around, put your hands behind your back. You have just made the country. You have violated the order of the President of the United States. You have just exposed us to terrorism and terrorist acts. You're going to jail.
I don't see that happening. I don't, because the problem with that is that you could see a Biden administration or a Harris administration or a Democrat administration doing the exact same thing to conservative judges.
Because what they did, Craig, they went after a political target. Because here's the guy who's going to run against us and expose all of our corruption. This is different. Here is your line 9 item and your statute that you violated. Oh, it's too old of a law. Too old of a law? Did you know that the Bill of Rights and the Constitution are older? Really? That's your excuse? It's too old of a law?
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. All I'm saying is that is a huge step, and I think that before we start putting judges in jail, just know that, I'll just say this, whatever we do, we need to understand they have the ability to do the exact same thing. Just like whatever they do gives us the ability, it sets the precedent, allowing us to do the exact same thing.
A judge cannot pull a law out and say, this law as a judge gives me absolute immunity to do whatever I want. They don't have that.
No, they can't. They can't. But that's where the role of impeachment comes in. That doesn't necessarily make it a crime unless it's been proven that they've committed a crime. I'm disagreeing with you. They get the ability to make these rulings. They get the ability. Believe it or not, it's not a crime for them to be wrong.
I think you're misunderstanding the statute. The statute says you don't even get the opportunity to look at what I'm doing here. I have exclusive authority over this. If I'm wrong, then the people can, then Congress can impeach me, or the people do not reelect me. That's the cause, not a judicial activist judge.
If the Supreme Court rules that to be so, then you would be correct.
I don't need the Supreme Court to look at it. They can if they want.
Yeah,
we encourage it.
you're talking about a dangerous precedent right there. One that I don't feel very comfortable with, because like I said, all it takes is for the executive to say, "Yeah, I'm interpreting the law this way, so that's the way I'm going to do it."
They're not interpreting; they're just reading it. And by the way, if you're not comfortable with it, just stretch a little bit more, Craig. You're getting old. Just stretch a little bit.
Ooh, Mike, like lock him up. Deport him, throw away the key. I want to see that judge bent over in El Salvador.
Well, we are going to take them to a nice U.S. facility in the subtropics that they can enjoy their time.
There you go. To give them a paid vacation in El Salvador.
No, U.S. property. We're going to take these guys to Gitmo. They're going to go to Gitmo.
Oh, to Gitmo. Oh, to Cuba. Cuba. Okay, well,
Cuba.
Maybe they'll get them some Cuban cigars.
There you go. Yeah. And they could be traded for them in the prison. Yeah.
There you go. Good stuff. All right, folks, so that brings us now to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, our first one here is not even necessarily related to any of our stories, but I just wanted you guys to be really aware that if you are a Democrat, if you are on the left, this is your people, all right? These are the people who you are defending, who you are siding with on this and many other issues.
We don't have access to reproductive health.
Now, have you ever had an abortion?
No, I haven't. And, and I'm torn because it's like, I know a lot of women who have gone through abortion, and it's almost like a rite of passage to womanhood.
Right.
And it's like that's something that I'm denied and that I will never be able to experience. But it's definitely not a prerequisite to have an abortion, but it is a rite of passage.
All right. Okay. So this is that for those of you who are just listening. If you could not tell from the voice. That was a trans woman, or basically a man who believes they are a woman, talking about how their reproductive rights are being denied because they can't have an abortion.
Listen, if it'll make him feel any better, he can come over and I'll throw him down a flight of stairs. So,
I'm just trying to figure out, so having an abortion is a rite of passage into womanhood? What? Come on, folks. Look, you cannot tell me that is not a mental illness. You cannot tell me that is not a mental illness.
I'm trying to figure out how they got that much clown makeup on there on that guy.
I'm wondering if that was made. I got to believe that was made up. But the only thing is that sentiment, it exists. It's not a fake sentiment, even if the video is fake. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not, because it's all over the place now. But the sentiment is not. You go and you read, there are plenty of people as a part of the trans community that are making arguments like that. And it
Craig,
is really
I believe
kind of crazy.
I believe that video is real because there has to be balance in the force, right? There has to be the yin to the yang. To my yin of lock the judge up and put him in jail is that thing's yang of it's a rite of passage for trans dudes to get a freaking abortion.
Yeah. There was, by the way, and I forget what country, it was in the United States. I believe it was either Canada or England or France, one of the three, where a gynecologist got arrested for refusing to provide service to a trans woman or to a man. He said, I'm not qualified to provide gynecological services to a trans woman. So
I think that's Canada, if I recall.
Okay.
Correctly.
Would not surprise me. It was one of them, cheese eating soft lady boy countries.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Anyway, so now this next one, this caught me by surprise. And it caught me by surprise because this is actually from 2023. And I'm like, how did I miss this? I do not understand how I missed this, because I would have shared this with every single liberal that I knew, because I think the leftists found another reason to love Donald Trump.
I know how you missed
Reuters
it,
today found that every single living president is a descendant of slave owners, except for one, and it's not Barack Obama. Turns out Donald Trump is the one who didn't actually have ancestors that owned slaves.
That's right. Even Barack Obama had ancestors who were slaves, or who owned slaves.
That was during the 23. That was during the summer of bourbon, if I recall correctly. That's probably how you missed it.
Okay, that's a good one. That was definitely a distinct possibility. All right, now finally, if there is one person that you can count on to improve race relations, it would be Red Fox. If you've never missed, what'd you say?
Thought you were talking about me. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no. No, not you. But if there's anybody, Red Fox is the guy who can promote race relations. And I love how he does it in this particular routine bit right here.
Bus driver, and he had a bus full of kids, and they were all in the bus arguing about black and white, what was right and what was wrong, who was right and who was wrong. And the bus driver just got fed up with all the conversation about black and white, so he stopped the bus and told all the kids to get off. And he walked outside with them. He said, look, I'm tired of all this bickering about race and who's right and who's wrong, who's rich and who's poor, who lives in the ghetto, who lives in the mansions. He said, from now on, if you're going to ride this bus, everybody's green. You got it? Everyone's green. He said, get on the bus. Dark green's in the back, light green's in the front.
He was a man.
Red Fox. If you have never, ever seen any of his stand-up, I'll put it to you this way. He's the one who taught Richard Pryor. And a lot of the comedians you see today, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, all of them, they all learned from Richard Pryor. Dude used to have, like back in the day, his albums, they were called brown bag specials because his comedy was so dirty. You have to carry the album in a brown paper bag because it was, people saw you had it. You could get in trouble for obscenity.
That's right. Very true. Very true.
But he was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, folks. Well, that brings us to the end of the program today. But before we go, we got one last thing to do, and that's one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR in the past 5 years, you probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you can buy from them factory direct. Just get on over to hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, military, get your bunch of guys together, get your group together, get your agency together, give them a shout at uscombatgear.com where you can get everything but the gun.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment and visit our sponsors. Just go to their website by following the links in the description to this program. Go there, spend some money with them. Tell them the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's program. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We'll be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see you tomorrow.
Doing Trump.